Good morning and welcome to another edition of the Daily Fix. I am your usual host and presenter, Advocate Tulo Hoyani. Today, I would like to look at, the tragedy that is unfolding in Stilfontein. You are probably aware by now that, there are miners, illegal miners, who are trapped underground in Stilfontein. These are what we call Zama Zamas. These people who go into these disused mine shafts to look for the little gold that is left there. They are largely criminal syndicates. And this thing has been going on for quite a long time. And the government and the Department of Minerals has always known about this. It has never been a secret that there are people who are engaged in this Zama Zama business, and that there's a lot of criminality around it. Now let us look at the latest crisis that is unfolding. There were initially something like 4,000 men down there. 4,000 black men. I'll come to their skin color just in a short while. 4,000 black men trapped down there. And most of them, or some of them, could be are illegal in South Africa. There are people from Zimbabwe, there are people from Mozambique, there are people from Lesotho. But there are also South Africans involved here. Now, when this thing came to light, that there are these 4,000 trapped men down here, what the government did was they just decided that they would starve them because they treat them as illegals and they're also, engaged in an illegal activity. They just decided that, oh, well, we're not going to give them water and food. We'll starve them until they come out of there. So progressively, one by one, these people started dying. And nobody seemed to care for this. Until, organizations like Lawyers for Human Rights came into the picture. There are now about 1,000 or so miners still trapped underground. And there are reported to be something like 80 corpses down there. So the policy was to deny them water and to deny them food in the hope that, hunger would flush them out of those mines. That just did not work. What an inhumane act that it was. What an inhumane act it was. So when these men were starved of water and food, and especially water, they started dying. And when they started getting hungry because they were denied food and so on, they resorted to cannibalism. Cannibalism, yes, I want to repeat that. Cannibalism, they resorted to eating each other. They resorted to eating each other. And that's what they are doing as I speak. Although there's a rescue operation to try and get them out. They started eating each other. Not much. People, I was shocked that, the average South African did not see this calamity unfolding before our eyes. I always wonder sometimes when we are so hardened to, cruelty and to criminality and all these bad things that we see in our communities, that even something of this magnitude hardly makes an impact. Even the media, hardly focuses on it. It is just another issue. And but there we are, seeing people resort to cannibalism. It must all shock us. It must all shock us. Now, I entirely blame the South African government here. Because not only have they been aware, and the mine owner, the former mine owners or the mine owners, they've all been aware that these shafts have always been there, and yet, in spite of the fact that this Zama Zama business started, going on and on and on, they just simply did not do anything to try and have those mine shafts closed. So they are culpable in a sense, because they've made the situation possible for us to have these Zama Zamas. Had these mine shafts been closed, and coding off from the public and access denied to these people, we couldn't have this kind of calamity on our hands. But there you have it. Nobody really cared, supposedly because these people were also illegal immigrants and, showy characters and so on and so forth. But the bottom line is that they are human beings. The South African government guarantees rights to every human being in South Africa. Foreign or local, it doesn't really matter. These people are people like you and me. We have got families, we have got relatives, we have got feelings, we have got, these are people basically trying to eke an existence out of the little gold that is left there. Albeit they do it, in an illegal manner and which cannot be condoned. So I think that, the deaths that you have seen in Stilfontein should be blamed squarely on the government and, especially the Department of Mines. They must be they are to blame for all this. They are to blame for all those deaths. The police are also, largely capable, culpable also for, having embarked on those unfortunate policies of denying these people food and water in the hope that, if they starve them, somehow they decide to come to the surface. Well, a lot of them have come to the surface now, but there's still a huge humanitarian disaster, unfolding there. And probably nobody bothers about it. I said to myself a few days ago and said, let us, for argument's sake, say there were 4,000, white men trapped down there. This is a democratic South Africa now. But let's, for argument's sake, 4,000 white men had been involved in these Zama Zama people, or assume that all the Zama Zama say they were all white people. They are not white people. I've never seen a white Zama Zama. But for argument's sake, let us say they were all white people. Would this be the sort of treatment that would be meted out to them? I really doubt. Something drastic would have happened. Those people would have long have been taken out of, out of there. And a lot of them would have made it. But in a black government, 30 years after democracy, this is the sort of treatment that we see being meted out of blacks. Black lives don't really matter because, if you look around the media, if somebody white dies, or if a white lady gets raped, it makes the headlines. And you look around yourself and say to yourself, but in the townships, how many women and girls get raped on a weekly basis in the townships? And nobody even gets to know about it all. They are simply just statistics, to add to the numbers of those who have already been raped in the past. So I'm not trying to stir up any racial, issues here, but I know for a fact, we live in a South Africa that still does not care for the life of a black man. I bet if it was white people, something could have been done. You can agree with me on that one, or you can disagree with me on that one. Well, that's a topic for another day. So the South African government, I believe there's a case to be made for the deaths that you have seen as a result of the, starve them, policy resorted to by the police. And they're also responsible, the government is also responsible for the resultant deaths, because had something been done and done quickly, those people would not have died. So the next of kin of those who have died in this tragedy have got a legal recourse against the government. They can actually sue the South African government, because it was the South African government in the first place that made it possible, for us to have those, disused mine shafts just lying there, so that people just end up accessing them. They created the danger in the first place. Like I said earlier on, those mine shafts should have been closed long ago and designated as no-go areas. But you find that in and around many of them, access is not restricted and everybody can get in there and do as they please. But the people who have died there have got, there's a case to be made for those people. They can sue the government. They can sue for the government in civil claims, which I suppose are going to run into millions. those civil claims can run into millions because this was a clear case of dereliction of duty by the South African government. Would it have happened if these Zama Zamas were white? You tell me in the comment section. I don't think so. I really don't think so. Despite of the fact that we are in 2025 now, I don't think it would have ever have happened. Having said that, please continue to watch this channel and thank you for the subscriptions that I'm seeing. I'm very encouraged by it all. Thank you and have a nice day.